Throughout the Lenten season, we have been following a worship series entitled Again and Again, created by some wonderful, gifted pastors and artists called Sanctified Art. Every Wednesday we have shown some pieces of art that accompany this series, and we've shared the artist's statements. This week, our painting is called Overturn by Reverend Liesl Gwyn Garrity. It was inspired by the story in John chapter 2 verses 13 through 22 that we read on Sunday about Jesus' act of turning the tables of the moneylenders in the temple. And so as I read Reverend Garrity's reflections and story on this image, I invite you to breathe deeply as you gaze on the image. Imagine placing yourself in the scene. Ask yourself, what do you see or what do you feel? And perhaps take a moment during or after this reflection to get quiet and still. Perhaps even offer a silent or spoken prayer to God. Here are the words of the artist. In 1965, my grandfather moved his family of 6 to Birmingham, Alabama to become the new senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church. Situated downtown, First Pres sits only a few blocks from the 16th Street Baptist Church, the site of the 1963 bombing attack by white supremacists that killed 4 young girls. Earlier that same year, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. addressed 8 prominent white clergy in his now famous letter from a Birmingham jail. My grandfather's predecessor was one of those clergy. They prompted King's letter by requesting he appeal to law and order. In essence, they were saying to him, we agree with your movement, but your methods are too harsh. The demonstrations are destructive and causing too much backlash. You're bringing agitators into our city. Wait for a better time and negotiate gently. This is the context in which my grandfather began his ministry with First Presbyterian. While he helped the church change their policy to become open to worshippers of all races, a process that undoubtedly required much moral fortitude, I wonder how often he too felt the urge of his predecessor and the other white clergy who had written to Dr. King. I wonder how often he preferred justice to happen slowly, gently, and in an orderly manner. I think how often that urge lives in me too. In this image, I wanted to freeze frame the destruction Jesus ignites, forcing us as viewers to focus on the process of dismantling and destroying an oppressive system. For those who willingly or unwillingly benefit from systems of oppression, it may feel threatening and terrifying to see them all come tumbling down. But for those held within the unrelenting grip of injustice, it must mean completely and utterly liberating. Again and again, Jesus shows us that his movement is about overturning systems of oppression to bring forth God's beloved community on earth. Again and again, liberation movements throughout history pursue this same goal. My question to you is, will we join Jesus in the overturning? Or like the disciples, question his methods?